Welcome to Frontiers. This program is the first in a two-part series about a grassroots Native sobriety movement called the Rural Providers Conference. Over the last 3 decades, it's covered a lot of ground because every 2 years it moves to a new community. This August, Tanacross hosted the gathering. It's an Athabascan community in the upper Tanana region near Tok, a community that is ready to heal. Although the geography changes, there are some things about this annual gathering that stay the same.
We're engaged in a process of recovery. So when we come together once a year, every single moment that we have here is precious.
Doug Modig is one of the founders of the Rural Providers Conference, an alcoholic who has maintained his sobriety for more than 30 years.
You have to learn to live without your best friend.
The gathering started as a way for counselors and traditional healers, many who also struggle with addiction, to rededicate themselves to the fight against drugs and alcohol.
We're at war. We're fighting against drugs and alcohol.
Fighting as one to support each other and the movement. In many ways, Rural Providers is like a family reunion where old friends gather to dance and sing, to celebrate sobriety.
We are a community of people in recovery. We come from all different parts of the state.
One community that comes to another to learn and share.
In the modern society we live in, most people are expected to be individuals, to be the strong individual. And traditionally, we thought and worked as a community. And the things that we needed to do, we did as a community. And we shared as a community.
Gary Simple has never been to a Rural Providers Conference before.
I used to be on the street, drink, and all that stuff.
Gary is here to share his story of recovery.
As a kid, I remember I couldn't wait to grow up so I can drink and go fight and do stuff.
He was angry and didn't know why until he realized fetal alcohol syndrome was part of his own struggle. Gary found peace on the land, hunting and trapping for his grandparents, and through music. So many stories, so much to share. Every Rural Providers Conference makes time to do that.
If you cannot see in your mind's eye where you want to be, you just tend to wander around.
At every gathering, everyone is asked to envision a better future, then talk about how to get there.
Where's the source of your problem? You have to dig down deep like a wound. In order for it to heal, you have to dig down and dig it up and clean it out.
My husband used to beat on me and just made me black and blue from head to all over. But at the time of his death, he asked me to forgive him.
For years we had a lot of suicides, and it was a funeral a week for a while. And that builds up, and it's layers and layers and decades of trauma.
The stories shared are hard to hear.
Stories don't cost anything.
Yet they are so valuable in the healing process. Then, the next step.
Looking within ourselves, within our communities, and identifying our strengths, where we're strong, where we're good. A lot like a woman who's with child. Like a community is with child, and that child is that vision.
Doug Modig asked the group to picture, as sober, the most chronic alcoholics they know. He did.
They were just so pitiful and so beat down, I could not believe that they'd ever get sober.
But then one day, like many in this room, they proved everyone wrong.
Visions are powerful because they can move mountains when nothing else will.